Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about a movie I watched recently, The Last Kingdom, Seven Kings Must Die. The movie released in 2023 and has been making waves in the entertainment industry ever since. First, let me start by saying that I am a huge fan of historical dramas, and The Last Kingdom, Seven Kings Must Die did not disappoint. The story of the film takes place in the 9th century during the reign of Alfred the Great. The story of Uhtred of Brunanburh, a Saxon warrior torn between his loyalty to his people and his Danish upbringing. The movie is full of action scenes that will keep you on the edge of your seat. From epic battles to intense sword fights, The Last Kingdom, Seven Kings Must Die has it all. The fight choreography was top-notch, and it was clear that a lot of effort was put into making these scenes as realistic as possible. One of the things that stood out to me in this movie was the attention to detail. From costumes to set design, everything was done with care and attention. I felt like I was transported back in time to the 9th century. The acting in this movie was also exceptional. Alexander Draymond did a great job portraying Uhtred of Brunanburh. He brought depth and complexity to his character, making him relatable and likable despite his flaws. Other notable performances include David Dawson as King Alfred and Emily Cox as Breda. Overall, I really enjoyed watching The Last Kingdom, Seven Kings Must Die. It had everything I look for in a historical drama: action, drama, romance, and great acting. If you're a fan of the genre or just looking for a fun movie to watch, I highly recommend watching the rest of this video. In conclusion, I believe that The Last Kingdom, Seven Kings Must Die has all the makings of a great historical drama and is sure to keep you entertained from start to finish. So let's not waste more time and go to the summary of this well-made movie. Get ready for an epic journey through the Netflix historical action drama film, The Last Kingdom, Seven Kings Must Die. Enemies of Wessex are moving in their lair as King Edward lies dying. As tensions rise, it becomes clear that there will always be internal strife and violence following the death of a Saxon ruler. With Wessex, Mercia, and East Anglia already under Saxon rule, Northumbria, ruled by Uhtred from his castle in Brunanburh, isn't technically part of England despite being a Saxon by birth. Uhtred was raised as a Dane and now practices Norse paganism. Towards the end of The Last Kingdom, Uhtred brokers peace between King Constantine of Scotia and Edward Elfward of Wessex. But when King Edward passes away, his son moves quickly to take the throne left empty. He attempts to detain Edward's son and widowed Queen Agifu, but they manage to escape to Northumbria with Aldal and take refuge in Brunanburh. Athelstan spent much of his youth in Northumbria and views Uhtred as a father figure. He readily supports the younger man's claim to the throne. After much contemplation, Brunanburh was no longer the place for him. But before he could leave, Gifu warned him about the drastic change in Thelstan's demeanor. The once jovial boy had transformed into a ruthless religious fanatic under the influence of his secret lover Engilmander. Thelstan's newfound zealotry stemmed from his belief that his feelings for enjoyment were an insult to God. He even went as far as murdering Elfward, who had surrendered, and targeting those who still followed the old ways. As the leader of one of the few English territories where pagans and Christians lived in harmony, Uhtred opposed Thelstan's new rules and refused to swear allegiance to him. However, he promised to do so once Thelstan proved himself worthy of being king to all of England's residents. Meanwhile, several rulers in the British Isles were uneasy about Thelstan's ambitious endeavors. Anlaf saw this as an opportunity to unite them by convincing them that Thelstan would pursue everyone. But given how cruel and ambitious Thelstan had become, this couldn't be further from the truth. Unfortunately for Uhtred, he was captured through treachery by Gilmendra and Engilmander. Osbert's son Edmund and his friend Uhtred are sent to serve as regular soldiers in Gilmender's garrison due to Osbert's defiance of royal orders. Meanwhile, Thowel Album has been executed for aiding Uhtred in his escape. Uhtred prepares for his inevitable death, but Athelstan surprises him by sparing him and banishing him from the kingdom. Uhtred wanders aimlessly through the harsh lands, hungry and cold, until he is rescued by Anilov's people, who take him to the Shetland Isles, where the disgruntled kings and their armies have gathered. The Christian and pagan rulers were at each other's throats until recently, but Ethelstan's ascension has forced them to find common ground. The assembled kings advise Uhtred that if he wants to prevent a war, he must assassinate Aethelstan as he leaves the camp. Uhtred spots Gilman among Aethelstan's close aides and realizes that he is an Anlav spy. He rushes to Winchester, the capital of Wessex, not to kill Aethelstan, but to warn him. Unfortunately, Aethelstan refuses to believe him. However, it isn't long before Gilmander's treachery becomes apparent as he lets the Ireland army through Thowell, resulting in the slaughter of Saxon soldiers posted there. But Osbert and Edmund manage to survive. Aethelstan repents for his foolishness and wants to deal with the repercussions alone, but Uhtred won't leave his side as he regards him as a son. Thanks to Uhtred's ingenuity, they defeat a much bigger force at the Battle of Brunanburh. As the men at Inglemunder's garrison watch on, it becomes clear that Aethelstan has been duped. The king finds himself in a dire situation, facing off against 6 other powerful rulers with a severely outnumbered army. The tension builds to a fever pitch as the film climaxes with the epic Battle of Brunanburh, which took place in August of 937. In reality, Aethelstan was caught completely off guard by Olaf and the other king's surprise attack. As they began terrorizing his citizens, he scrambled to gather whatever forces he could muster to contain the damage. But even as he tried to stall his enemies with fake negotiations and empty tents to make it seem like he had more men than he actually did, it seemed like all hope was lost. Yet somehow, against all odds, Aethelstan managed to rally an army of around 10,000 men. While official numbers aren't known for sure, it's believed that Olaf and his allies had a similarly sized force. But despite being heavily outnumbered, Aethelstan's army fought valiantly in an extremely long and bloody battle. While the movie takes some creative liberties with its depiction of Uhtred's secret flank attack, there's no denying that this was an intense and dramatic moment in history. The battle raged on for hours, with both sides locked in a stalemate. But then Aethelstan's forces managed to break through Olaf's army, shattering it into 2. The cost of victory was high. Thousands perished in the bloody conflict, including Constantine's son and several future kings. Technically, they were princes, but the prophecy played fast and loose with semantics. Aethelstan emerged victorious and finally got his sweet revenge on Inglemunder. However, amidst the chaos of battle, Uhtred was severely wounded. He clutched his sword Serpent's Breath, a precious gift from his father, as he fought to defend his people. It seemed only fitting that Uhtred would die just like his father did. But did he really die? As Aethelstan and his allies prayed for Uhtred's health, he emerged from his chambers alive and well. By defying the king, Uhtred had actually saved him and secured the hope for England's future. With Northumbria now sworn to Aethelstan as their rightful king, England was finally formed. However, there was still one question left unanswered. Who were the other 2 kings that were prophesied to die? Uhtred surmised that one of them must be King Edward. The final shot is a masterpiece, with our protagonist standing between life and Valhalla, leaving us to make our own interpretation of his fate. Is it even a choice at all? He's framed in an almost holy-like pose, with a crown-like fixture adorned with candles above him. The last image he looks at is of his son, and we notice the distorted lens as if he's losing his grip on this world. But let's not forget that Uhtred Bevenberg is a fictional character, only somewhat inspired by an Uhtred who came along 100 years later after the events of the Last Kingdom. What is real is Bevenberg Castle, which we see at the end completely redone in stone just like Finan told him they were going to do. You can actually visit this castle in Northumberland for £15 and 50 cents admission. So what did you think of 7 Kings Must Die? Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this summary of The Last Kingdom, 7 Kings Must Die. I hope you found it informative and enjoyable. If you have any thoughts or comments about the movie, please feel free to share them in the comments below. Also, if there's a particular movie that you would like me to summarize in my next video, please let me know. I'm always looking for new ideas and suggestions from my audience. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.